What's up, everyone? This is this what it is? And I'm your host, Gunvid. Let me start off this show. Getting some water. I'm gonna light this joint up. We're gonna get into the show. Okay, let me light this up real quick. Okay. So, first topic of the day that I want to talk about is boxing, MMA, and just fighting in general. War. So, in hand-to-hand combat, whether you're watching boxing or MMA, whatever, kickboxing, whatever it is that you watch, Muay Thai, there's fighters in all of those categories that drop their hands in order to gain an advantage of their punches being harder to see. When you have your hands low, it can be more difficult to see the punches coming from the defender's perspective. So, there's a benefit to that if you're a fighter and you drop your hands. But what I would say is to never do that. Even if you're doing great in the fight up to that point, say there's a 10-round fight, 12-round fight, or an MMA 5-round fight, 3-round fight. You might be doing good for the first 90% of the fight, or even halfway through it, and you're not getting hit and you're dodging all the punches, because fighters who drop their hands, they don't always block. Yeah, sometimes when they see a punch coming, they'll put their hands up and block it or parry, but it's not worth it, because you could be winning 90% of the fight, and then your opponent can throw a punch and just knock you out. And then all that good work that you did the whole fight is gone. You might have cut them up. You might have bruised them, But, for example, Chris Weidman versus Anderson Silva in their first fight. Chris Weidman knocked him out, In their second fight, Anderson Silva, I believe he broke his leg. He threw a leg kick that was checked by Weidman and broke his leg really badly. But I'm happy he's recovered from that, because a lot of people, you break your leg like that and you can never fight again. So it was a blessing for him to keep fighting. And then later in his career, Weidman broke his leg the same way, pretty much. Horrible leg break. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about is the first fight. Anderson Silva was dropping his hands. He was taunting Chris Weidman, and then he got knocked out by a nice, quick left hook. And he tried to dodge it and he tried to block, but it's too late. Once that punch is halfway there, and then you try to block, it's too late. These fighters, they're quick. Weidman, he's a quick striker. He's not the quickest, but when he's throwing punches, he's really quick. So it's not worth it. And then let's talk about Yuri Prochazka versus Alex Pereira. So Yuri Prochazka, in his training, in his build up to the fight, he does a lot of mental work, and he'll do things like sit in the dark in his house for like fucking 3 days straight and shit like that, and like doing some crazy fast, if I'm remembering correctly. And like he's all about that mental game, but it's like I don't understand why he showed his hand, so to speak, and told Alex Pereira pretty much that he was scared. He didn't say that like that, but he was like, "Oh, let's do a fight without any like rituals," because in the weigh-ins to Alex Pereira's fights, he paints his face and wears like some sort of tribal uniform and paints his face red and like kind of like really scares his opponent. That shit looks scary. I can't even lie. Like as a fighter, that looks kind of scary. But when I get into fights, I'm not really scared of anyone. I don't really have that fear like that. I am wary. I understand that I can get knocked down and I can get killed in a fight. But I'm not intimidated, but I would admit that it would kind of look crazy. Like I would be I wouldn't even be scared of Pereira if I seen him with that paint and uniform that he wears to the weigh-ins. But some people do, like Yuri, and that's not talking shit about him. I'm just giving my perspective. But yeah, so leading up to the fight, he was like, asking him to have a fair fight and him not to do any of these rituals and shit like that. And magic, black magic, he might have even called it. But, and then Alex Pereira told him it's not black magic, this is his tradition. And he's with God. And I respect that. But yeah, Yuri, you really messed that up. You should have just kept that to yourself. And then in the fight, Yuri, in all his fights pretty much, he drops his hands. He fights with his hands low. And he has that style of like, trying to mask his punches by having his hands low. But he got knocked out by a switch kick. So with his left leg, Pereira switched to orthodox and then threw the kick, and Yuri saw the kick and tried to parry it, but his hands were too low. If he had his hand up, he could have blocked that kick perfectly and even countered. But he tried to parry the kick, he tried to block the kick, and it was just too late. He got knocked down, and then Alex followed up with some good ground and pound strikes and TKO'd him. I wouldn't say he knocked him out cold, but he TKO'd him. And it was bad. Yuri stood up soon after and then was very shaky on his feet. He was pretty much falling. And yeah, so to Yuri Prochazka, if you're watching this, I'll tag you in the video. But if you're watching this, what I would say, what my advice would be, and no disrespect to your coaches, but I feel like, they should tell you to fucking pick your hands up. So what I would say is for you to join Team Alpha Male. I believe they're in Sacramento, Uriah Faber, and have Uriah Faber as your coach, because I believe they have a great team over there, and I feel like they teach good technique, and they will fix your bad technique as far as your dropping your hands. And no disrespect to you, I think you're a great fighter. You've achieved great things in the sport, clearly, because you've been in title fights, or if I'm not mistaken, like you got to the point where you were a contender for a title and you lost. But Pereira is a great fighter, so that's not to disrespect you or like nothing like that. And I'm not scared. I'm just I'm a martial artist, so I'm respectful of people's technique and their craft. So yeah, it's gotten you up to this point, but you gotta pick them hands up, man, and just learn to fight that way. Make the adjustment, because I don't want to see you get knocked out. And MMA, it can be deadly, so it would be a shame to see you dropping your hands. And me, like, I've never been knocked out, but I know it can happen. It's a possibility. But for the most part, my style, I keep my hands up. And so when you're training for a fight, you want to give yourself the best chance of winning the fight, because you could train. You have the best training camp. You have a better training camp than your opponent and still get knocked out or still lose. So what you want to do is give yourself the highest chance of winning. And giving yourself the highest chance of winning partly is having your hands up. And you can still have your hands up, like I said, and still get knocked out, Maybe the punch was, you can still get caught. Your opponent, he can move your guard, he can parry, there's a trick to where you can use one of your hands to move your opponent's guard and create an opening to punch him and knock him out, or kick, or knee, elbow, whatever you're doing, whether it's MMA or in boxing. You can move your opponent's hand and punch them and knock them out or hurt them. But when you have your hands up, you give yourself the best chance of winning and also not being defeated by knockout. So yeah, that's some advice. I've never fought professionally or amateur, but I do have a lot of experience sparring and some experience fighting in the streets, self-defense. I've never started a fight in my life. That's just me being honest. So yeah, I've never intentionally went up to someone and just tried to fight them. Because I know fighting is deadly, and I'm about peace. Although I'm a martial artist, I do that only for self-defense. So as far as war, even with guns and knives, I'm all for peace in the world. I hope all the countries in the world get to a point to where no one's fighting each other and there's no civil war. That's what I'm about. So yeah, there's that. And let me light this J back up. And I'm against bullying too, and harassment, all that. I feel like people, pause. We should love each other. Because, as far as humans fighting each other, we're all humans. So I believe people should come together and party. We should celebrate each other's cultures. We should have respect for each other and each other's traditions and religions and cultures. That's the vibe that I'm on. And so yeah, as far as diss tracks, I don't want to make any more. Unless someone says my name or does something really too crazy that I'm against, I don't really plan on doing that anymore. And I've said that many times before, and then I go and I be petty because this shit is really funny, the things that I've said. But I do talk about killing people, but that's lyrically. If I say I'm gonna kill you or shoot you, I'm just lyrically talking. I don't want to kill anyone ever. I've never killed anyone, any human or anything. Maybe insects, if if they're a pest to me, it's allowed for me to kill them. Say you got a roach in your fridge, whatever, something like that, yeah, or a fly. But even for the most part, I'm against that. If I see a bug now, or for the most part, I let bugs live, you know? So yeah, there's that. And in New York and in many places, there's bugs that by law you're not allowed to kill. Like, I think praying mantises are on that list. I've never killed any bug on the list that is illegal to kill. Just, you know, just a disclaimer. And I gotta say, at this point in my life, I feel great. I feel great as I've ever been. And the next topic I want to talk about is YouTubers and just people who are new to boxing and MMA. You know, especially YouTubers. There's a lot of them that go to gyms and then they try to fight people. And not just YouTubers. People, you know, if you go to a boxing gym or an MMA gym, you know what I'm talking about. There's people who go and act tough and want to fight pro fighters or amateur fighters or coaches, you know, the leader of the gym. And they try to, like, win some sort of mental battle or even physical battle against them. And, you know, just cut that shit out. First of all, if you're a fan of boxing or a fan of MMA and you want to start going to a gym, don't just go to any gym, because there's people in these gyms who will just beat the shit out of you, even if you're a newcomer. And people with experience, we don't respect that. We don't like that, because when you got a new fighter, you want to build them up. So you want to start off with light sparring. First of all, you want to start off with no sparring. You want to start them off shadow boxing and teaching them techniques. And then after maybe a week or two, maybe they can hit pads. But even for a month or two, just have them shadow box and pause, have them stretch out, have them learn the technique from a basic level and then ramp it up. There's people that are just fucking beating the shit out of amateurs. That shit is not cool, dude. You gotta respect the sport. You gotta respect MMA. You gotta respect boxing. You know? You gotta respect Muay Thai. You gotta respect kickboxing. So don't, if you're a coach or an experienced fighter in the gym, don't just beat the shit out of these people unless they're trying to literally fight you. You know? But if there's an honest newcomer who wants to get great at boxing or even wants to fight, don't just beat the shit out of them and leave them brain dead or potentially kill them because you want to have a good day at the gym. That's not cool. I never respected that. I was lucky to have a trainer. I don't talk to him anymore because certain things happen, like certain disrespect I don't tolerate. But I was blessed to have a trainer that taught me the right way. He didn't have me fucking just fighting from the beginning. First, like I said, shadow boxing, learning the technique properly. Then I got up to hitting pads. And then we started sparring, light sparring, and doing drills. You know, drills are important for the muscle memory of a newcomer fighter or even a pro fighter. So yeah, you know, and then after hitting pads and light sparring, then when I showed that I got to like a really good level to where I understand how to move my head, I understand how to block punches, then we really was pretty much full on fighting in the gym and you know, in different gyms and shit. That's the way you fucking do it. So yeah, have respect for the sport. And if you're a newcomer, be careful, because like I warned you, there's people who would beat the shit out of you. So if you go to a gym and you're a new fighter and someone in the gym or the coach beats the shit out of you in the first day or when you're new to it and you don't know what you're doing, don't go to that gym anymore. There's plenty of gyms that you can find. You might have to travel more, but it's worth it. There's gyms that you can find to where they will teach you properly and they will work with you from the level that you're at. So that's very important. And, really, like I said, keep your hands up, move your head, learn how to move your head, pause, to avoid punches and kicks. And, just give it your best. But also, if you're a newcomer, don't go and try to knock someone out. It's easy to get carried away, but don't go to these gyms trying to fight people and then be upset when they beat the shit out of you, because they will beat the shit out of you. I've never done that. I've always been respectful of people's gyms. When I'm at a new gym, or when I'm at the gym that I was going to, I've always been respectful. I didn't go there trying to knock people out, ever. You go, you have respect. Usually when I go to a new gym, I'm doing light sparring because, like I said, I want to be respectful. I don't want to hurt people. Unless that day we was doing hard sparring, then I still wouldn't try to knock people out. I would just, just try to help my opponent and help myself too. When you're sparring with someone, the goal is for you both to become better. The goal is not to win a fight. If you want to win a fight, you join the amateur ranks, whether it's boxing, MMA, whatever you're doing, and you do it the proper way. You have sanctioned fights. You sign up with whatever league it is you want to join, and you do it that way. If you want to be a pro fighter, or if you want to start off amateur, that's how you do it. So yeah, be respectful, be smart, know your level, and go from there. And yeah, don't be talking shit to pro fighters if you're not a pro fighter, because they'll fuck you up, dude. It's not worth it. I understand you want to have your opinion about their career or whatever it is, but do it respectfully. Next topic I want to talk about is battle rap. The thing that I love about battle rap, whether you're doing it a cappella on the stage, like shout out to Smack, leagues like that, KOTD, I want to give them a shout out because I think battle rap is a beautiful thing, especially when they shake hands after and hug, pause, or whatever, if they just give each other dap after. I respect that because there's a lot of bullshit killing each other in the streets, and if you could battle rap, whether it's a cappella in these leagues or if you're doing it on a diss track, if you could do that and there's no violence after that, I really fuck with that. So yeah, shout out to that, and shout out to all the great battle rappers in the world. I'm one of them. And yeah, that's just pretty much what it is. I want to speak out against bullying. If you feel like I've bullied you, I apologize. There were just certain things that I'm against, and so I'm entitled to my opinion, but I don't want to bully anyone. Yeah, so there's that. So yeah, if you like this episode, hit that like button, comment, share, and subscribe. This is what it is. I mean, I be fucking up the name. This is this what it is? And I'm your host, Gunvid.